The Manchester United midfield is in desperate need of a rebuild. When you look at the squad, it's simply not good enough in the midfield department. However, when it comes to kind of rebuilding the midfield, it really becomes a little bit overwhelming. We've got several players in this area, 7, 8 plus players in this position, all with different profiles. It's difficult to know what we've got and also what we need. Now, there is one way of making it a bit simpler, and that's getting rid of some of them. So Casemiro, I think he will be gone in the summer. Christian Eriksen, I imagine, will be gone in the summer. And also Sofian Amrabat, I wouldn't expect us to turn that into a permanent deal. So immediately we have cleared things up a little bit. We've made things a little bit simpler. It leaves us with Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Scott McTominay. What we now need to do from here is figure out kind of what profile of player those guys are. And then we can figure out from there what we still need to bring in. Now for this we are going to use a rating system, breaking up the midfield position into 6 different categories. In possession, 1, 2 and 3, and then out of possession, 1, 2 and 3, rating them on a scale of 1 to 5. So if you are a 1, you're a poor midfielder in this part of the game. If you're a 5, you're an elite midfielder in this part of the game. Now just to clarify, if someone's a 1 in a certain area, that doesn't mean they're a bad footballer, right? Your attacking midfielder doesn't need to be great in the first phase. Your deep midfielder doesn't need to be great in the last phase. So take it with a pinch of salt. Anyway, we will start off with Kobbie Mainoo and his ratings. Now for me personally, I've got him as a 4 in the first phase in possession, then a 3, then a 2. And out of possession, I've got him as a 2, a 2 and a 1. Bruno Fernandes, we've got as a 1, a 2 and then a 5. And then a 1, a 2 and then a 4. Again, showing he's better towards the final third of the pitch, which you'd expect from Bruno Fernandes. With Scott McTominay, we have a 1, a 2 and a 3, and then a 3, a 4 and a 3, and then Mason Mount a 2, 3, a 3, and then a 1, a 2 and a 4. Now what you can see there is we've got a little bit of a mixed bag. Players kind of specialising in different areas of the pitch, but that's completely fine. What's not so okay is that the whole team looks as though it gets better the closer towards the final third we go, apart from Kobbie Mainoo. We can see that in the overall ratings. We go 8, 10, 13, and then 7, 10, 12. Showing that as a rule overall in our midfield, we tend to get better the further up the pitch we go. That highlights a clear problem. We really need to improve the first phase. So the first phase in possession, playing out from the back, and then almost the last phase, if you like, out of possession, deep defence. We really need to improve that area at Manchester United. Now ideally, I would like to take all these ratings so we are a 15 across the board. So our whole midfield together is 15 across the board. Now of course to do that, we're going to need to sign 2 players who are certain specialists in certain areas of the pitch. We need a ball-winning 6, first of all. Someone who rates as a 3, a 2 and a 1 on the in-possession side of things, but then off the ball, a 5, a 3 and a 2. Then the other midfielder, the other 6 we should sign, should be more of a ball-playing specialist in my opinion, rating as a 4, a 3 and a 1, and then a 3, a 2 and a 1. So now what you can see is that both players still need to be pretty well-rounded and good at most aspects of the game, but specialising in certain areas. We've got this ball-playing midfielder and more of the ball-winning one as well, to give us that ultimate midfield balance. So now we need to look at some options.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFIFA.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order.
So we'll start off with the ball-winning 6 that we need to come into the club to play this position, perhaps next to Kobbie Mainoo. Now again, what we said for this player is they need to be good on the ball, but this doesn't have to be their main focus. However, like I said, they need to be quality still. We need someone who can play in the first phase, so it's not all on Kobbie Mainoo. They need to be able to drop deep, play bounce passes with other people, at times receive under pressure and turn, although that's not the main focus. They need to be pretty solid in this area of the pitch. They need to be capable and comfortable playing out from the back. That is key, because Casemiro currently isn't, and that gives us a problem. What this player also needs to bring to the side, though, is the ability to play when a team's a little bit higher up the pitch. Perhaps being a retention-based midfielder. Someone who can kind of pass the ball from side to side, occasionally spray the old long pass. But we're not looking for a specialist here. This doesn't have to be, you know, a Rodri who's elite in possession. Again, just a player who is solid and comfortable. Then in the final third, we don't really need too much at all. In terms of out of possession, we need someone physically strong in my opinion. Someone who can cover a lot of ground, be good in out of possession 2, but also out of possession 1 as well, which is all about deep defence. Defending our box. Kobbie Mainoo's okay at it. We need someone next to him who is really good at it and really excels in this area. And I've got 3 main options. One is, of course, Amadou Onana. who we have spoken about time and time again on the channel. Another is Matt Vifer, another player we've spoken about a fair amount. And then the other option is Manuel Ugarte, currently playing for PSG. Now, we haven't spoken about Ugarte so much on the channel, but if you actually go back 12 months, we were talking about him quite a lot, this time last year. So again, we have covered him to quite a deep extent. Now, first things first, if you want another video on any of these three players, let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know an outside shout you would like for one of these positions. In terms of these three, the reason that I like all of them is because physically I think they're very good. I think they cover ground very well. They're strong, but also technical players on the ball. They're not first phase specialists, again, let's make that clear, but they can play in the first phase. Vifer is very good at making himself a bounce pass option. Onana is always available in the first phase and has the strength and the ability to protect the ball to play in this area of the pitch. And the same for Ugarte as well. Good at using his body, he can occasionally dribble out from the back. We saw it more at Sporting, but again, a good player in this phase. In terms of the next phase in possession, retention is there. Vifer isn't a specialist, he's not a deep dictating six, but he is still good on the ball. The same for Onana as well, particularly with his long passing. And then Ugarte really is a retention specialist. In terms of with his passing, he almost never gives the ball away. In terms of what the three of them do in the final third, it's not so important. We've got other players for that. Out of possession is where we are really focusing though. This is where they need to be specialists. They need to be able to win the ball back. Check out their FBref reports. All three of them are very, very good in the tackle. Ugarte perhaps making too many fouls at times, but in general, all three of these options are very good at winning the ball back for their side. Whether that be covering pretty large spaces, motoring across the pitch, being mobile, covering a lot of ground, going strong into tackles, or whether that be sitting deep in front of the defence and kind of screening side to side across the pitch. All three of these midfielders can do this to a pretty high level in my opinion. So therefore, I think they're all pretty good options for this position. Let me know which one you would prefer, and again, perhaps some outside shouts as well. Then we have that other type of six which we need as well, which we labelled as more of the ball playing six. So of course the focus here was more on in possession and less on the out of possession game. Now one thing I should clarify is that some of these players will cross over between the two. Onana at times could come into this bracket, Ugarte at times could come into this bracket. But this is going to be more about possession specialists. So what are we looking for? We're looking for really good first phase play. Particularly perhaps someone to play against, or alongside I should say, Mason Mount in midfield. When Kobbie Mainoo needs a break and we change the midfield structure, Mount's not so good in the first phase, so this player needs to be, in my opinion, in terms of making a well-rounded squad, a well-rounded midfield. This is what we need, a ball player in the first phase. So we need someone who can drop deep, at times be press resistant, but in the next phase, really be good on the ball, a high volume player, someone who wants 70, 80, 90 plus touches per game. We're talking about ball retention, yes, still switching the play as well, but also where possible, progressive passes through the lines. I want an expressive player on the ball here, a proper dictator of play. And what with possession? We still need quality. These players do need to be good at putting tackles in, making interceptions, but they don't have to be a specialist in this department in my opinion. It's why you have a well-rounded midfield kind of unit, so you can pick and choose different players for different games. In midfield, you have that license and that luxury a little bit more. So that's what United need to try and find, someone who can do this sort of role. And for me, again, there are three standout options. One is going to be Palacios of Bayer Leverkusen. Not a player we have covered on the channel, but a phenomenal player who's been absolutely brilliant this season. Another is Florentino Luis, a player we covered last season. Again, top quality. I've been touting him for a move for some time now. Really good player. And then the other is Zubimendi in midfield as well. Again, a really good ball player. Now, as I said with the ball-winning player, if you want a more in-depth or detailed video on any of these individuals, let me know in the comments. In terms of overall, though, what they're going to bring, quality on the ball. Really, really good quality and confidence and composure and understanding of temperament and timing and tempo and things like that. Really good players on the ball. They can receive in the first phase. They're not necessarily press-resistant dribblers all the time, but it's very, very comfortable, very confident on the ball. They thrive with the ball at their feet. That's where they really feel at home when they are receiving these passes in these areas and they're able to play. They don't always have to be press resistant in the sense of dropping a shoulder and turning. Press resistance also involves passing under pressure, and that's what all three of these players have to a very, very high level. So I think they're all brilliant options in that department. But it's actually for me in the next phase where they really come to life, and that's the high volume passing. The dominating a game. That's what these guys bring. Now, Zubimendi, it's been spoken about a lot, just how good he is on the ball. I think he's absolutely brilliant at sitting deep in the midfield and running the game. Florentino Luis is a player who I don't think gets enough credit. I think Enzo Fernandez last year got a lot of credit. I think João Neves now gets a lot of credit. This guy has played alongside those players and is the glue which holds the team together, in my opinion. In and out of possession, to be fair, he is very, very good. And then you've got Palacios as well, who this season has kicked on to another level. And on the ball has looked absolutely phenomenal for that incredible Bayer Leverkusen side. So again, I think all three of these are very, very good options. Today, we are not going to go into much more depth than that. This is just kind of a video where we kind of sweep over the midfield situation. We remove some players like we done at the start. We then assess what we've got to figure out what we need. In my opinion, we need some sort of ball-winning midfielder who is kind of a hybrid between a 6 and an 8. And then we need another 6 as well, which is a bit of a different profile. Less focus out of possession, more focus on being a calming influence in the midfield. A little bit like what we saw from Amrabat at the weekend. That sort of vibe. We saw how that got the most out of Kobbie Mainoo. That is what Manchester United need in the midfield. That is why Manchester United need to rebuild the midfield, and that's how they can do it. Signing those two profiles. In terms of what player you prefer, how much money you've got to spend, that is of course going to affect who you bring into the club. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below though, so get down there, let me know who you think is a good option, who is an outside shout, are any of these the right thing for us, or are these the wrong profile, entirely. Let me know what you think in the comments, but apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.